Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you are new here, then I'm so happy to meet you. If not, then welcome back. You guys know the drill. Make sure to give this video a big thumbs up if you like the sounds of it. Subscribe to my channel and turn on your notifications bell and you will get notified each time I have a new upload. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about masking, stimming and sensory overloads. I hope you can all learn a little bit about these topics today, and I'm going to share my own experiences as well. So masking can be described as a coping strategy for autistic people. It is more often seen in women than in men. It's commonly associated with women more so. From my own experience, when I was diagnosed at the age of 17, looking back, particularly at my childhood years, I started to notice how I had been masking. So I suppose masking can mean autistic people are hiding their neurodiverse behaviours to try and fit into society and what's considered society norm. So this could be forcing eye contact, scripting conversations, hiding stims. I know a big one for me was the scripting of conversations. Like if I was going to be calling someone on the phone and talking to them, I would have a piece of paper and I would have written out on it exactly what I want to say. I would also have a pen in case I needed to write anything down that they said, but I would have it very much scripted out in my head, and I would be the sort of person that if it veered off topic, I could find that quite difficult in a phone call. And I know that phone calls in general can be something that autistic people do struggle with a lot, and I know that it's really only in recent years I've been able to properly cope with phone calls. Up until then, like, it would just stress me out so much. But even to today, I'm the sort of person that if I get a phone call, I'm most likely going to turn it off, text the person or whatever and say, oh, you know, I missed your phone call, what do you want, sort of thing. But yeah, that's definitely one thing with masking that I have found. I think the big thing with masking is that it can lead to anxiety, stress, exhaustion, and it also, particularly in women, and this was something with myself, it can lead to a delay in diagnosing autism. So if you have a child, a young adult who is able to mask, who's able to, you know, fit into society, you're going to see that that person is going to be diagnosed later, or perhaps that diagnosis will be missed altogether. And I know that in my case that played a huge factor in because I wasn't diagnosed until I was 17, and it was because I always put it that growing up and in school and things like that, because I looked like I could fit in, nobody ever noticed kind of the struggles that I was having, and this was due to masking. Obviously growing up, I did not know what masking was. I didn't even realise I was doing it until I was diagnosed and I learned more about autism and I learned more about masking. So one thing I did mention was that people do to fit in is hiding their stims, and that's actually the next thing I want to talk about is stimming. So this is repetitive series of actions, and it can be a way for autistic people to calm down if they've been overstimulated by maybe noise, smells, you know, if they're in maybe a crowded area, there's a lot going on and they're just overstimulated. That's when you can see a stim. Now, stims can vary completely from person to person. I know that for me, my stims would be probably perhaps playing with clothing materials, so kind of doing something like that. Laughing could be a stim for me. I know sometimes my mother would be like, what are you laughing at? But I'm not necessarily laughing at something, it's just that it's a stim. But I know that different people might do hand movements, might scratch their head. There's so many different types of stims. There's also vocal stims. But stimming is a way of coping with your environment. And as I said, that ties in with the masking, because one of the things the masking and autistic people try and mask is their stims. And, you know, stims should not be, you know, frowned upon or stopped or made feel like it's a bad thing, because at the end of the day, it's our way of coping, particularly if we're overstimulated. And if we try to sort of hide those stims, then that's what could lead to maybe like autistic meltdown, autistic shutdown. Talking about overstimulation in regards to like noise, smells, brings me on to a sensory overload. And a sensory overload is where one of your senses or more are overstimulated. So as I said, this could be noise, this could be smell. It can happen in various circumstances. It could be in school settings, college settings, work settings. For me, one of the biggest ones, and it's been like this since I was a child, and still to this day I find it, is shopping centres and shops. There's so much going on. There's loads of people. There's maybe music in the background. You can hear people chatting in the background. There might be noises at the checkout in the background. And then particularly if I have maybe like a friend or somebody with me and we're talking about something, or they're trying to talk to me about something, and I'm also trying to look at the item of clothing I might be looking at, or shoes, groceries, whatever it is, for me, that is just too much. I can't focus on anything and it just doesn't work for me. That's why I end up actually, when I do shopping, most of the time I actually do online shopping, because I just find it really, really hard to focus on anything. And if I do buy something, I end up coming home and I don't even like it. So that's, for me, how I have found to be difficult with sensory overloads. Again, like everything, every autistic person is different. So different things are going to affect different That's my cat, Francis. Are you okay, Francis? You have to be quiet now because Kiran is doing a video. No, you have to be quiet because Kiran's doing a video. Are you going to be quiet? Are you going to be a good boy? Okay, sorry for the rude interruption from he won't stop now. Sorry for the rude interruption. Okay, back to sensory overloads. So a sensory overload can then lead to perhaps a meltdown. It can lead to like anxiety, perhaps panic. I know that for me, a lot of the time when I would have had a day at school and I would have then come home, that would be for me when I would perhaps have a sensory overload. It's like everything from the day was just too much for me, and suddenly I just kind of had this, I suppose, this come down time. And that's when I found personally I would have sensory overloads as well. And then sensory overloads can then in turn, a little bit like what I talked about with masking and with stimming, or trying to stop yourself from stimming, it all then can lead to an autistic meltdown or an autistic shutdown. I'm going to do a video at some point on autistic meltdowns and autistic shutdowns, do specific on that, but I wanted to concentrate on these three today. Sorry for the interruption from my cat. He's sitting in the window at the moment. He's becoming a regular on the channel. But anyway, so that is masking, stimming and sensory overloads, what they are and my own experiences with them. As I always say, I like to speak about my own experiences. I can only speak for myself. I can't speak for all autistic people. As always, be sure to comment down below if you have anything to add, if you want to talk a little bit about your own experiences. I love to keep the conversation going. As well as that, if you would like to perhaps share my channel with your friends, if you feel there's people that might get something from it, then that would be really, really great as well. Thank you for watching. thank you for joining me. Thank you for joining us, me and Francis, who's over there looking out the window at the moment. And I hope to see you soon in my next video. And goodbye. Thank you very much, everyone. Stay safe.